2019 is finally over. I can't believe it. It feels like just yesterday, but also somehow simultaneously 7 months ago. I played a shit ton of games in 2019. 63 to be exact. I know. Sorry guys, the Twitter handle @PussySlayer69 is already taken. I like to play older releases, and when a game doesn't hold my interest, I don't force myself to play them all the way through, so as a result, not every game in that 63 has been played to completion. I had a lot of fun keeping track of all the games I've played throughout the year, 2019 releases and otherwise, so I decided to rank them all in 2 separate lists. Yeah, I don't exactly think it's fair to have Uncharted 2 on a best of 2019 list. Looking at you, fucko. So, in this video, I'm going to be going through all the non-2019 releases I played last year and ranking them from my least favorite to what I consider the best. In part 2, I'll be going through the 2019 exclusives, so subscribe so you don't miss that. And, as I said earlier, not every game in that 63 was played to completion, so it didn't totally seem fair to put some of them in the lists. I only ranked games that I felt I played enough of to judge fairly. Sorry D-Blob2, you're a nice guy, but you just weren't doing it for me. Watch and see, I'm gonna get doxxed by D-Blob stands now. Is that a thing? Do people still care about D-Blob? On to the list! Number 31, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Much better than I was expecting, but still pretty vanilla and repetitive after a while. Filled my Jones for Pokemon until Sword and Shield came out, and that's about it. Number 30, Injustice 2. I'm not a big fighting game person, but this one's really polished and the story was pretty fun. I love me some good DC superhero stuff, and this hit the spot. Once the story ended though, I had no incentive to play anymore. Number 29, No Man's Sky. Damn, they really turned this game around. I bought it at launch and was disappointed by the lack of content. They completely revamped exploration and progression, and they added new stuff, and they added multiplayer. Good job, Hello Games. Number 28, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Such a cute, fun little game. It feels like it knows exactly what it wants to be. It's not trying to change the world, it's just here to give you some adorable puzzles and entertain you for an hour or two. If you see it on sale, absolutely give this game a try. Number 27, Star Wars Battlefront 2 2017. Another game that completely turned itself around. They fixed every single issue present at launch. Way more content, all loot boxes are strictly cosmetic, Clone Wars content was added, and they even added more single-player story stuff, which I appreciated. Number 26, Assassin's Creed 2. I first played this when it released way back in the day, and it's been years since then, so this felt like a new experience for me. I love the tone and aesthetics of this game, and most of the time, the gameplay still really clicks. Holds up, even 10 years later. Number 25, Kirby Triple Deluxe. Kirby games are so much fun that I'm pissed that I didn't get to enjoy them as a kid. This game feels like a great entry point for newcomers to the franchise like me, and once I picked it up, I couldn't put it down. Puyo. Number 24, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I'm really mixed on this game because, on one hand, its story is told in such a unique and compelling way, and I love that they just don't spell everything out for you. Characters are very authentic, and you want to learn what became of them. On the other hand, the walk speed is so slow, and the ending, in my opinion, was really disappointing and didn't feel like a conclusion to the overall narrative. I don't know. Maybe if there's a mod to make the walk speed quicker, I'll replay it. Number 23, Outlast. I love that this game doesn't overstay its welcome. It never stretches its concept or its mechanics too thin. It felt like the developers did everything they wanted to do and said everything they wanted to say, and then the game's over. A great, spooky, scary adventure. Number 22, Shovel Knight. The only reason this is so low on the list is because I played it at the same time as Rogue Legacy, spoiler alert, and I like that game a little bit better. I love the art and writing and music, but for whatever reason, I just didn't find myself wanting to play very often. Despite this, I still have to give credit where credit is due because this game is objectively really great. Number 21, Abzu. Journey was my jam for most of high school, so I have no idea why it took me this long to play Abzu, but I'm really glad that I finally did. The art, the atmosphere, the graphics, it's such a perfect, relaxing experience. And, a lot like Outlast, it didn't overstay its welcome. Number 20, Me and My Katamari. This was my first foray into the Katamari series after wanting to play the games for years, and playing this on my Vita allowed me to play it with 2 analog sticks, so it was basically a full Katamari experience that I could take on the go. I cannot wait to play the rest of the console games now. Number 19, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. I know, me, the person with a Kingdom Hearts tattoo, hadn't played this until 2019. I first played it when it came out, and I was young and naive, and I couldn't figure out the mechanics. But now that I've played it, it's actually pretty solid, especially for a DS game. The story is the real show stealer here, though. I mean, coming from me, that's a really biased sentence, but still. Number 18, The Wolf Among Us. The writing and the presentation of this game is top-notch. Creative, dynamic, and engaging. If you enjoy Telltale games, then this is a must-play. I was really concerned that it would be like super edgy just for the sake of being edgy, but the edginess actually has a purpose here and serves the narrative really well. Also, the color palette is right up my alley. All about those pinks and purples. Number 17, Rogue Legacy. This is the game that kind of ruined Shovel Knight for me. Rogue Legacy is all the best parts of Shovel Knight, but with all the fat stripped away. It's easy to pick up for newcomers, and it only pulls you in further the more you play. It's strange that I'd prefer this, a game with no story, to Shovel Knight, which has characters and style and lore, but I can't help it. It's just that fun. Number 16, Deltarune. Here's another game that was hurt by how much I love another game, and it's pretty easy to deduce what game that is. Deltarune is much more ambitious than its predecessor, but perhaps since it's part of a larger series that isn't finished yet, I couldn't help but feel like something was missing. But don't get me wrong, it's still a lovely, lovely experience. Number 15, Rise of the Tomb Raider. What is usually referred to as the best in the Tomb Raider reboot series is actually my least favorite in the trilogy. It introduces new gameplay mechanics and shiny new graphics, but you know me, I'm all about that story. And the story here really didn't feel very satisfying to me. It felt more like a story about other people and not a story about Lara Croft. You know, the Tomb Raider. Number 14, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. This game took all the stuff I liked in Rise, put it in a setting that I liked more, and applied a better story to tie it all together. I actually really liked the flashback sequences and learning more about Lara's connection to her father. This felt like the sequel I was expecting when I popped in Rise. Number 13, Tomb Raider 2013. This game rules. The gameplay, the characters, the dark, grimy atmosphere. It feels distinct even from the other 2 games that came after it. This one is kind of unpolished compared to the others, but it strangely works. In the story, Lara is unpolished. The environment is adorned with jagged rocks and strung up corpses. The whole experience is kind of jarring and surprising, and that's what makes it so great. Number 12, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. Superstar Saga is one of my favorite games of all time. I can't count the amount of times I played it all the way up to Cackleta's Ghost and then gave up because that shit is hard. And when this game was finally released, in an unfortunate coincidence, I'd sold my 3DS only a few months earlier, so I couldn't play it for a really long time. I finally got my hands on this version, and it's still great. Of course, it's not as great as the original, but there's new life breathed into this game that I never thought Nintendo would revisit, and for that, I'll always be grateful. Number 11, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I was totally not expecting to enjoy this game, but by golly, it's pretty great. I love the freedom to explore, I love the combat, and I love the freeform storytelling. It really does feel like I'm playing an ancient Greek epic with episodic stories and branching tangents. I've put so many hours into this game, and I'm already planning on putting more into the DLC. After taking a long break from the Assassin's Creed franchise, this is the one that finally pulled me back in. Number 10, Uncharted Drake's Fortune. This was the very first in the Uncharted franchise, so I don't blame it for not being the best in the series. The story, characters, music, and writing all come together to make a blockbuster gaming experience. It really feels like you're playing a summer popcorn movie, only with Uncharted, you get to be the badass instead of just watching someone else. Number 9, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. These games are all fantastic, so when I say that Uncharted 4 is the third best, it does not mean that it's a bad game in any way, shape, or form. I really liked seeing what a next-gen Uncharted experience would look like. I just feel like this one didn't have as much focus or smart writing as some of the other entries. Number 8, Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. I love how ambitious they got with the storytelling in Uncharted 3. The locations are so varied and the scenarios are so bananas that I couldn't help but have a great time. Once I got to the Mirage sequence in the desert, I knew that I was playing something really special. It feels like the devs knew how fantastic Uncharted 2 was, spoiler alert, and they tried everything in their power to up the ante in this installment. Number 7, Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. This is the best one. There's just no contest. The new characters are great, the new music is great, the gameplay is great, the writing is great, the colors are great, the levels are great. Just any aspect of game development, chances are in Uncharted 2, it's great. Number 6, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. Because of Studio Ghibli's involvement in the development of this game, Ni no Kuni feels like you're playing a Hayao Miyazaki film. There's this warmth that emanates from every character design, every line of dialogue, every environment. It just feels like childhood. And this is coming from someone who has no childhood nostalgia for any of Miyazaki's films. I'm not even a fan of most JRPGs. I get too overwhelmed at all the content and mechanics you have to keep track of. But Ni no Kuni is surprisingly simple and fun to play, even for a pleb like me. It's just an incredibly nice game. I love living in this world, and it always gets me coming back for more. Number 5, Red Dead Redemption 2. I am a story and narrative person, and Red Dead 2 is almost exclusively all narrative. And that narrative is masterfully told. Every single character is great. That never happens in video games. There's always that one character that just sucks. But in Red Dead 2, the characters that suck are supposed to suck. Their suckiness serves a purpose in the story. The environments are breathtakingly gorgeous to the point where I really didn't mind just riding my horse everywhere and just taking the scenic route back to camp. The writing is just so fucking good. Words don't do it justice. It's like watching a really great TV show, but then you also get to shoot people and ride horses. Numbers 3 and 4, Metal Gear Solid 4 and Metal Gear Solid 5. I couldn't decide between these two, so they share these spots together. When Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain came out, I had never played a single MGS game in my life, but Phantom Pain was getting fantastic reviews and I was getting a serious case of FOMO, so I decided to pick up the HD collection and play the series from start to finish. All of the other games I played in 2018, but I finally had the pleasure of playing these two last year, and both games were climactic, important experiences. Chronologically, Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots is the last in the series, but in real life, Phantom Pain is the last Metal Gear Solid game to ever be made. And both are amazing, but in very different ways. Guns of the Patriots appeals to the filmmaker in me. It pays off character arcs and plot lines that have been building over the course of many, many years, and it does it mostly really well. It manages to make sense of the series' incredibly complex, convoluted story, and I have so much respect for it for that. Phantom Pain, on the other hand, goes light on the story and heavy on open-ended gameplay. There are a million ways to approach every single mission in this game. If you want to be an action hero and run in guns blazing, great. If you want to stay true to the series' roots and maintain stealth, great. There's no wrong way to play, and the gameplay is polished to an absurd degree. And the story stuff that's actually here is also still pretty great. Metal Gear Solid is one of my all-time favorite series, and these two games made sure of that. Number 2, What Remains of Edith Finch. This is gonna be weird because it's my number 2 spot, but I don't have much to say about it. Simply put, it's one of the best interactive narratives I've ever had the pleasure of playing. But to go into too much detail would be a disservice, because experiencing each story and vignette with fresh eyes is something I would never want to take away from anyone. Let me just say this, if you like story-based games like I do, just play this game. You'll be glad you did. Number 1, Undertale. Holy shit, why did it take me so long to play this game? I adore Undertale. At any given moment, I'm ready to start a new playthrough. The only thing that prevents me from playing it over and over again is the fear that I'll burn myself out and harm my enjoyment of it. The way this game marries its story with its gameplay is nothing short of perfect. Everything I've complimented about other games on this list, Undertale achieves it and more. Story, characters, art, gameplay, freedom of choice, dialogue, atmosphere, replayability, music. The music in this game. Oh my god, the music in this game. I've listened to this game's soundtrack like a bajillion times. It was my most listened to album in 2019 on Spotify. I spent real-life money on a fan's fully orchestrated version so I could listen to it on my phone. I'm not exaggerating when I say it's probably one of the best video game scores ever composed. Undertale is a game about morality, choice, and friendship, and it weaves all of these themes together through its gameplay perfectly. I would never want to spoil the story, so I can't exactly go into detail about how Undertale achieves this feat, but just trust me, it's brilliant. If you've never played Undertale, or if the fanbase scared you away in 2014, I implore you to give it a try, because once I did, it became not only my favorite game that I played in 2019, but also one of my favorite games of all time. Hey guys, thanks for being interested in what I thought about games that I played a year ago. I started making this video at an appropriate time at the very beginning of 2020, and then for one reason or another I dropped it, but now that the whole quarantine's going on, I decided, hey, why not? Let's finish the fight, you know? My next video will be about games that were actually released in the year 2019, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. And yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my rambling at the end of the video here. Okay. Bye.